All right, let's jump into one of the most incredible moments in the entire Old Testament. It's a story you've probably heard, but there's a fascinating detail that most of us get wrong. Why exactly did Moses' face glow?
So, picture this. Moses comes down from Mount Sinai holding the Ten Commandments, and his face is literally radiant. It's shining so brightly that the Israelites are actually scared to even get close to him. So what's that all about? What did it really mean?
You know, for the longest time, the common take has been that this was the sign of ultimate spiritual achievement. Kind of like the peak spiritual high, right? This mystical state you reach from being so close to God that you physically change. And that's something we should all be trying to get to.
Okay, but let's really dig into that, because what if that popular idea, as inspiring as it sounds, totally misses the entire point of the story? What if the glow wasn't really about Moses at all?
This right here really sets up the whole conversation. On one side, you've got this idea of a private, personal accomplishment. But when you look at the actual context in the Bible, it points to something totally different, a public sign, a message that was meant for everyone else.
To really get why this public sign was so incredibly important, we have to rewind the clock a little bit. We need to look at the total disaster that went down right before Moses went up that mountain for the final time.
The Israelites had a full-on meltdown. While Moses is up on the mountain getting the law from God, the people down below get scared, they panic, and they build a golden calf to worship. This was a huge deal. It completely shattered their relationship with God, and they were terrified that he was just going to leave them there for good.
So here's the problem God has to solve. How do you prove to an entire nation of millions of scared, insecure people that you've forgiven them, that you're still with them, and you're still going to lead them to the promised land? How do you do that?
Well, the answer is wrapped up in this one word, glory. You see, throughout the book of Exodus, the glory of the Lord isn't some fuzzy abstract idea. No, it's a visible, tangible, public sign that God is physically present with his people.
A perfect example is when God's glory settled on the mountain. The Bible says it looked like a consuming fire. I mean, this was a giant, unmistakable signal for everybody to see. There was absolutely no doubt that God was there.
And this pattern just keeps going. Later on, when they finish building the tabernacle, their portable church basically, that very same glory fills the tent so powerfully that even Moses can't go inside. Again, it was this undeniable public statement from God saying, I am right here living among you.
And that brings us right back to Moses' face. The glow wasn't for him. It was a personal, mobile version of that exact same public sign. It was God's way of sending his glory down the mountain on the face of his messenger to walk among the people and prove to every single one of them that he had not abandoned them.
But hold on, it gets even better. The glow wasn't just confirming God's presence in a general way. It was very specifically validating the words that Moses was bringing down from the mountain. It was like a divine stamp of authenticity on the message itself.
I mean, think about Moses' career up to this point. His whole job was to be God's spokesperson, but man, it was a tough gig. His entire journey was just one long, frustrating struggle to get people to actually listen to him and trust what he was saying.
Right from the very beginning, he's met with rejection. Pharaoh just laughs him off. His own people complain that his words are making their lives harder. Out in the desert, every time they're hungry or thirsty, they doubt him. And of course, the golden calf incident was the ultimate rejection of the words he had delivered.
This just flips our whole idea of leadership and service on its head, doesn't it? Moses' job wasn't to be popular or successful or to get instant results. His calling was simply to be faithful, to keep delivering God's message, even when he was met with constant failure and pushback. The glow was God's way of saying, listen to this guy. He speaks for me.
So why does all this matter for us today? What's the big takeaway from this ancient story?
Well, first things first, the goal of our spiritual lives isn't to chase some external, mystical experience, to get a glowing face. That's just focusing on the side effect. The story is pointing us to the source, the message itself.
Instead of chasing a feeling, the story calls us to focus on the word, to be people who faithfully listen to it, who faithfully share it with others, and who faithfully trust it to lead us, especially when the road gets rocky, just like it did for Moses.
And you know what? This isn't just some Old Testament idea that got left behind. Fast forward hundreds of years to the Apostle Paul. When he was leaving a church he cared about deeply, he didn't hand them over to a new leader or a new 5-step program. He entrusted them to God and to the word of his grace, because he knew that's what has the real power to build us up.
And so that really leaves us with a big question to think about. In our own lives, in our work, our families, our faith, what are we actually pursuing?
Are we chasing the external glow, those visible signs of success that look good to everyone else? Or are we committed to the quiet, often unseen, and sometimes really difficult work of just being faithful?